Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be talking about something pretty fascinating and I think pretty important. So we're going to be looking at this platform called Stokit.new, and it's dedicated to tackling mental health and social issues. And, we've seen some pretty shocking statistics lately, like, for example, 40,000 people couldn't even get through to the suicide prevention hotline just last year.
Yeah. That's a staggering number.
It really is. And that's the kind of problem that Stokit.new and its founder, Mike, are trying to solve.
Yeah, and he's going beyond the sort of usual like blog posts and podcasts and stuff.
Yeah.
He's got this ambitious vision for an AI system that can actually like help people who are in need.
Yeah, and that's what I find so interesting about this is like he's not just putting information out there. He wants to create a system that can help.
Right, and the thing is like the scope of what he's doing is impressive. Like Stokit.no isn't just like a website, it's this whole platform. It's got like over 300 articles, a live chat. They even sell clothing and art.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And get this, he built all of this himself.
Oh, yeah.
And he's even selling some of the components to fund the development of this AI system. So it's like he's really committed.
So it's like he's putting his money where his mouth is.
Exactly.
That's impressive. So I think we should probably jump into the heart of this.
Good.
What is this AI system that he's envisioning?
So think about like how we use AI assistants now. Like Google Assistant, for example. We ask it questions, we get directions, we play music.
Right.
Mike wants to create something similar, but with a completely different purpose.
Yeah.
To tackle like social challenges head on.
So instead of asking for directions, you'd be asking for help with like anxiety or depression or...
No, like imagine you're struggling with anxiety.
Yeah.
You could interact with this AI instead of just searching the internet for generic advice.
Right.
It could analyze your situation like through text or voice interaction and then offer personalized strategies for coping.
So it's like having a therapist, but it's an AI.
Kind of, yeah. And it could connect you with like support groups or even professional help if needed. And the thing is, it wouldn't just be for individuals. Think about how this could be used by professionals, like police officers, social workers, therapists.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They could really change the game in how we approach things like mental health crises, domestic violence situations, even addiction recovery.
So let's talk about how this thing would actually work, because I'm fascinated by the idea, but like I'm not a programmer, so break it down for me.
Sure. So for what Mike has said, and we actually have some of his conversations with ChatGPT as one of our sources.
Okay.
It seems like it all comes down to interconnected algorithms working together.
So like different algorithms for different tasks.
Right. Think of it like a hospital with specialized departments.
Okay.
You have cardiology, neurology, oncology, each one focusing on a specific area of medicine.
Yeah.
And in this AI, each algorithm is like a specialized department working on a specific task.
So one algorithm might be analyzing the text that you're inputting. Another one is searching for relevant data. And then another one is generating the response based on all that information.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a team of experts, each bringing their unique skills to the table.
Yeah.
But the real magic is in how they work together. It's not just a random collection of experts. It's a well-coordinated team effort.
Right. So how do they actually work together? Because I'm seeing all these terms in the source material, like modular architecture and pipeline structure. What do those mean?
Okay, so modular architecture refers to how the AI is structured. It's built like a system of interconnected modules, each containing algorithms for particular tasks, like an assembly line.
Okay, so each station performs a specific function.
Right, exactly. So one module might analyze the user's emotional state based on their text or voice input. Another module searches a database for relevant information, and another crafts a response tailored to the user's specific situation.
I see. So it's like step by step, the information is flowing through this pipeline.
That's exactly what pipeline structure means. It defines the flow of information and tasks between those modules. The output of one becomes the input of the next.
Okay, that makes sense. But how does this AI actually learn and improve over time? Is that where machine learning comes in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just like we learn from experience this, AI learns from the data it's exposed to. So imagine it's being trained with thousands of conversations about anxiety.
Oh, wow.
It starts to recognize patterns, understand nuances, and predict the most effective ways to respond to different situations.
So it's not just following like a set of pre-programmed rules, it's actually getting smarter over time.
Exactly.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But I can't help but think about like the amount of processing power that all of this would need. It seems like you would need a supercomputer just to run this thing.
You're not wrong. The computational demands are pretty significant.
Right.
But we're lucky that we're in an era of rapid advancements in computing power.
True.
We have specialized hardware like GPUs and TPUs that are designed to handle these complex computations.
Yeah.
And they're becoming more powerful and more efficient all the time.
So it sounds like we're like on the verge of something really groundbreaking here. This isn't just about building like a fancy chatbot.
Right.
It's about harnessing the power of AI to address some of the most fundamental human needs.
Exactly. And the fact that it's being integrated into a platform like Stoki.net.u, which already have a wealth of resources and a supportive community, makes it even more impactful.
This is all sounding incredibly promising, but I'm sure there are some challenges involved in building and implementing a system this complex. So let's dive into those challenges next.
You're right about that. There are definitely challenges. And one of the big ones that Mike talked about in his conversation with ChatGPT was coordinating all those different algorithms.
Right, because if they're not working together properly, the whole thing falls apart.
Exactly. It's like if you have an orchestra, but all the musicians are playing different tunes, you just get noise, not music.
Yeah. So how do you prevent that from happening with the AI?
Well, it seems like the key is having what they call a controller algorithm.
A control.
Yeah. It's basically an algorithm that oversees all the others. It manages their interactions, prioritizes tasks, and makes sure everything is running smoothly.
So it's like the conductor of the orchestra, making sure everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. But even with a conductor, you can still have problems. What if one musician wants to play really fast and another wants to play really slow?
Yeah, you'd have a conflict.
Right? And the same thing could happen with the AI. What if one algorithm prioritizes speed while another prioritizes accuracy?
That would create problems for sure.
Yeah, so they have to be really careful about how they design and train the AI to make sure it can balance these different priorities.
That makes sense. So let's talk about how this AI would actually fit into the Stokit.nu platform. Is it like a separate tool or is it integrated into the website?
It's definitely integrated. Mike envisions it being like a seamless part of the platform.
Mm-hmm.
So you could be on the website reading an article, and then you could interact directly with the AI right there.
Oh, wow. So you could be reading about anxiety, and then you could talk to the AI about your own anxiety.
Exactly. And it could give you personalized guidance based on your situation. It could suggest resources or even connect you with support groups or professionals.
It's like having a virtual therapist right there on the website.
Kind of, yeah. Which could be really helpful for people who might not have access to traditional therapy.
Right, because of cost or location or stigma.
Exactly.
So
it could really break down those barriers.
this all sounds amazing, but I'm sure some people are going to be skeptical. They might think that AI can never really replace human connection and empathy.
And that's a valid point.
Hmm.
This AI isn't meant to replace human interaction. It's meant to supplement it, to provide support when it's needed. Most importantly, when human help isn't available.
Right, so it's not about replacing therapists or counselors.
No, it's about filling those gaps in care.
And providing support in those crucial moments.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's be realistic here. Can one person really build and implement a system this complex?
Well, even Mike admits that this is a massive undertaking. He's done a lot on his own. But this AI project requires a much wider range of expertise.
So he's looking for help.
Yeah, he's reaching out to developers, artists, companies, anyone who can contribute.
It's really inspiring to see someone with such a bold vision. And he's not just talking about it, he's actually taking steps to make it happen.
He's really putting himself out there.
And it shows how much he believes in this project.
Absolutely. But it also highlights the fact that this isn't just about Mike. It's about a collective effort, a community of people who want to use technology to make a positive impact.
It's a reminder that sometimes the biggest challenges require collaborative solutions. So to build an AI that can really address social issues, you need a deep understanding of those issues themselves.
Right, you need the human element.
Exactly. So how does Mike plan to make sure the AI is sensitive to the complexities of human behavior and all the different social challenges out there?
That's where the interdisciplinary aspect comes in. He knows he can't do it all alone, so he's actively seeking input from psychologists, social workers, therapists, people who work directly with these issues.
So he's combining his technical expertise with their human-centered insights.
Exactly. Because you need both to create something truly effective.
That's a really interesting approach. So let's talk about the training of this AI. How do you teach a machine to understand human emotions and social dynamics?
That's where machine learning comes in. You train the AI on massive data sets of conversations, articles, research, anything related to these social issues.
So it's like giving the AI a crash course in human behavior.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And by analyzing all this data, it starts to pick up on patterns, understand the nuances of language,
Mhm.
and learn how to respond appropriately.
It's like teaching a child through observation and interaction.
That's a good analogy. But
Yeah.
just like raising a child, there are ethical considerations. You have to make sure the AI doesn't learn harmful stereotypes or exhibit bias.
Right, because those biases could be reflected in the AI's responses.
Exactly. So they have to be really careful about the data they use and how they train the AI.
Okay, so even though this AI has the potential to do a lot of good, there are also potential risks.
Absolutely. You can't ignore the ethical implications of a technology like this.
Right. So how does Mike plan to address those risks and make sure this technology is developed and deployed responsibly?
Well, he's very aware of the ethical challenges, and he's committed to building safeguards into the system.
Like what kinds of safeguards?
Well, for one thing, he's working with ethicists to identify potential biases, and he plans to regularly audit the AI's performance to make sure it's aligned with ethical guidelines.
So it's not just about building the technology, it's about making sure it's used for good.
Exactly. And that requires ongoing attention and evaluation.
That's good to hear. It sounds like he's really thinking through all the angles here.
Yeah, he's not taking this lightly.
And that's important because this is a big deal. I mean, this project has so many layers. It's not just the tech, it's the human element, the social impact, the ethical questions. It's a lot to consider.
It really is, and that's what makes it so exciting, is pushing the boundaries of what's possible, not just with AI, but with how we approach these kinds of challenges.
Yeah, it's like a whole new frontier, this intersection of technology and social good. It's opening up all these possibilities that we could have only dreamed of before.
And it's happening right now. I mean, Mike's full vision might be a few years away, but the groundwork is being laid, the conversations are starting, and the potential is huge.
It's a real game changer.
And what's even more interesting is that this isn't just some isolated project. It's part of a larger movement, this growing recognition that AI can be a force for good in the world.
We're seeing it in healthcare education, environmental protection, and now with Stokie.nu in social good. It's like we're entering a new era where technology is being used to make the world a better place.
Exactly. And it brings us back to the core mission of Stokie.nu, which is to create a space for critical discussion and collaboration around these important issues.
Yeah, even if Mike's AI project takes a while to fully develop, the platform itself is already making a difference.
It is, and it's a reminder that change takes time and effort. It's a process that requires all of us to work together.
And that's where our listeners come in. We've explored Mike's vision, the technology, the challenges, and the potential. Now we want to hear from you.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on all of this? What stood out to you the most?
And what social issue do you think this type of AI could be most helpful in addressing?
We encourage you to visit stokic.nu. Check out the resources they have, and maybe even contribute to this project if you can.
Even if it's just sharing your thoughts, donating, or spreading the word, every little bit helps.
Because at the end of the day, the future of social good isn't about algorithms and code. It's about human connection, empathy, and our collective will to make a difference.
And that's something worth fighting for. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Stokic.nu and the future of AI for social good.
We'll see you next time.